Hello and welcome to healthyhouseplants.com, where we teach you all about gardening in the great indoors. Today's video is sponsored by our Amazon affiliate link, which you'll see in the comments section below. So today's video was asked for by one of my viewers, Diane. And thank you, Diane, for suggesting that I talk about peace lilies and their care and how to keep them healthy. So right now here I have two peace lilies, which you can see. One is a smaller one, and then we have a bigger one here too as well. You will see that they are a little bit different in color, and that's common actually, depending on the peace lily. So they are the same in the same plant. However, you will have plants that have a darker leaf and some have a lighter leaf. Now, peace lilies usually have, or sometimes have, when you're they will bloom intermittently with a white flower. And this plant is also known as Spathiphyllum. And those white flowers are actually leaves that turn white, which is how some plants form, quote, flowers. And these plants resemble, the white flowers when they come on, resemble calla lilies. The blooms begin as a pale green color and eventually become a creamy white. So peace lilies bloom, like I said, intermittently. There doesn't seem to be a whole bunch of rhyme or reason as to when they will bloom, but they do, excuse me, have a blooming period. So these guys are in between blooming, and I wanted to show you how they show you today about growing them and that sort of thing. So but here is a picture of one of these guys in bloom. Okay, so the great news about peace lilies, and I have another video on this that is going to be releasing soon, is that they are one of the best air cleaning plants you can get. They are in the top 10 of really good air cleaning plants. They will take out toxic pollutants from your environment, including benzene, acetone, ammonia, formaldehyde. Now, those are some things that end up, as I cover in my other video, end up appearing in, coming from outgassing from things like new furniture, new plastic items that you have in your house. They come out in many forms, those such chemicals. So it's great to have a plant like the peace lily that's really good at scouring the air of such chemicals. Now, also, it's a really pretty plant and it's easy to grow. It will tolerate low humidity. It will tolerate drought. If you've had a peace lily that you forgot to water and you saw the leaves drooping like crazy and you panicked and you watered it and you came back about an hour later, you will see that it revived. So unless the plant becomes extremely dry, you are going to get, they are going to revive. They're not, unlike something like maidenhair fern, which will never forgive you, peace lilies are very forgiving in terms of if you've droughted them. But do try to keep them well watered as you can, because they do like to remain moist, which is interesting. So water when the first ½ inch of soil has dried, and I say interesting because of the fact that they do so well with rebounding when they are droughted. But they will do better. They will bloom for you more frequently, and they will be healthier overall if you don't drought them. But I just like to mention that they will respond. So if you do have one that does that, do water it unless it's bone dry, and it will come back for you. When you water the peace lily, like other houseplants, I recommend water with lukewarm to warm water. Also avoid using any salted, don't use water that has salts in it, so softened water, because that will cause things like leaf tip burn, which this plant has one. Here's one example of that. The leaf tip burn right here, if you can see that right here. So there's actually another one here, the leaf tip burn. I have another video on that, the causes of that. But one of the causes can be salt in the water. It can also come from fluoride in the water, and sometimes chlorine as well. So if you're getting a lot of that, then check out your water for the peace lily. Also, another consideration can be that it's a little too dry. However, they do fairly well. However, if you're in somewhere in the south, like such as the Pacific, as the Southwest, so Arizona, New Mexico, those areas that are very dry, you may need to add a little extra humidity to the plant. Mist occasionally. Grouping plants also makes them have a lot more. They humidify each other, and I covered that in my video on increasing humidity for houseplants. I actually have a few. One on creating humidity tray, which you can also do for them if you think that it is a dry air situation problem. And also they will get the leaf tips or some drying of leaves if you continue to drought them on a regular basis, which like I mentioned I don't recommend. So feeding them, feed them monthly with a well-balanced organic fertilizer. Top dress the plant every 6 months or so. I like to top dress my peace lilies with a 1/2 inch or so layer of worm compost. That enriches the soil and it gives the plants necessary micronutrients that they may not get in other fertilizers. And it acts as a really nice mulch too, keeping the soil moist, as the peace lilies like. So trimming the plants, cut out any flower stalks once they're done. I did that at these actually finished flowering not too long ago, and I cut out the stems. So you want to keep them cut out to avoid any pests or diseases coming in. Pests and diseases love plant parts that are done, so that have browned up. So keep that in mind too. The temperature for peace lilies, they're susceptible to damage in cold temperatures. They really do prefer 65 to 70 degrees indoors. You can go as low as 60-ish without too much problem, but I would avoid keeping them in an area where it is lower than 50 degrees. And you can go up higher than 70 degrees as well. In terms of pests, they have very few problems with pests, but you may occasionally get some mealybugs, scale, or spider mites. So you can treat the mealybugs with isopropyl alcohol. The scale can be treated with horticultural oil, and spider mites can be eradicated with neem oil or insecticidal soap. So keep that in mind. Let's see, I think that covers it. Do consider mulching your plants, mulching your peace lilies as well. You can, if you don't want to use worm compost, you can also use shredded bark, a little bit of shredded bark to mulch them. That will keep their soil nice and moist as well. And another thing to keep in mind is the lighting. This is a big one. They need medium and light. They can even go a little to the low light side. They will not bloom if they are in too bright of a light. And also they are susceptible to getting leaf burn, so leaf spotting. So if you get spotting in the middle of leaves anywhere, then that can be an indication of burn from too much sun, from too much bright light. So they will also tend to get lighter in color, not like this one, which is a natural light, but you'll notice a plant that maybe was darker before the leaves are getting lighter and lighter in color. That's another indication that your peace lily is in too much light. They do respond well to full spectrum lighting, and they do really well in a northern exposure window. They also can do fairly well as well in an eastern exposure window, providing it's not too bright in the morning. So if you think it's too bright, pull it back from the window a little bit. So that is it for the peace lily. It's a beautiful plant and it adds a lot of elegance to your home. Thank you for stopping by today. Please leave any comments about any indoor gardening tutorials you'd like to see. And remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video.